Donald Trump sat alone within the hallowed walls of the Oval Office, his signature red tie loosened and hanging askew. The weight of his second term pressed down heavily, a burden amplified by the global tensions and domestic crises demanding his immediate focus. The door creaked open, and 19-year-old Barron stepped inside, his tall, lean frame cutting a striking figure reminiscent of both parents. His dark hair was neatly styled, and his demeanor carried the poised confidence of someone raised under the relentless gaze of the public. Expecting a routine exchange with his son, Trump's anticipation shifted when Barron's entrance sparked an unforeseen revelation about the silent toll of leadership. The room was unusually quiet, with Trump abandoning his usual flurry of document reviews and phone calls for a rare pause. His tie dangled undone, and the top button of his shirt was unfastened, a subtle rebellion against the formalities of his role. His second term, freshly begun after a polarizing inauguration, brought a deepened sense of responsibility, with international challenges and national issues piling onto his shoulders. The door swung gently ajar, admitting Barron Trump, whose youthful height and composed air marked him as a young man shaped by a life in the spotlight. "You wanted to see me, Dad?" Barron inquired, securing the door behind him. Trump's stern expression softened, the political facade giving way to a warmer, more authentic connection as he gestured toward a sofa near the fireplace. "Yes, come in, Barron. Glad you could make time," he said, moving from his desk to join his son in a cozier setting. "I thought we could have a private chat, just the two of us." Barron settled onto the sofa, his lanky form making the plush furniture seem almost diminutive. These intimate moments with his father had grown scarce, complicated by Trump's presidential duties and Barron's studies at NYU Stern School of Business. "We haven't really talked in nearly 2 months," Trump admitted, a trace of regret lacing his voice. "Your mom keeps me updated, but it's not the same as hearing from you directly." Barron nodded with a maturity beyond his years. "I get it, your meeting schedule and my class times never align. Finding a slot is tough." Trump inclined forward, nodding as the reality of lost opportunities settled in. Days had slipped into weeks, and too much time had elapsed. "Tell me how you're really doing, son, not just what your mom relays," he urged. For a few minutes, they discussed Barron's modest apartment, his adjustment to college life, and the ever-present Secret Service detail shadowing his every move. Their dialogue carried an awkward rhythm, a sign of two people deeply connected yet unaccustomed to regular interaction. "The guards try to stay discreet, but they're hard to miss," Barron remarked with a slight shrug, acknowledging the intrusion with a casual air. Trump studied his son's face, noting the newfound maturity in features once those of a 10-year-old during his first campaign. Those intervening years, filled with rallies, political storms, and the demands of high office, had left little room for quiet family time. "You've grown up so fast," Trump said, a hint of melancholy in his tone. "Seems like yesterday you were playing with toy trucks in Trump Tower." Barron smiled, reminiscing. "I remember building towers with those wooden blocks with you. You always made them sky high, and we'd watch them topple." Trump chuckled, "I've always believed in big dreams, even with block towers," though his expression soon turned serious. "Barron, I know these years haven't been easy. The media scrutiny, the criticism, the lack of a normal family life, you've handled it all without a word. What's the point of complaining?" Barron replied pragmatically. "It wouldn't change anything." This candid response struck Trump more deeply than anticipated, revealing the quiet resilience his youngest son had cultivated, and the personal cost of that strength. Amid the whirlwind of presidential duties, global crises, and political battles, Trump had perhaps underestimated Barron's endurance. "When was the last time we just spent a day together?" he asked. His voice tinged with genuine curiosity, seeking a memory of unscripted father-son time. Barron paused, reflecting. "Maybe that weekend at Mar-a-Lago last summer, when we played golf Sunday morning, just us." Trump realized with a pang that it had been nearly a year, the game twice interrupted by urgent calls that pulled him away mid-round. "That's not right, Barron. We need to do better." "You're the president," Barron said simply, his tone free of reproach, which only deepened Trump's unease. His son had adapted to their limited time with a maturity that spoke volumes about his character. "Tell me about your apartment," Trump redirected, eager to reclaim some normalcy. "Your mom mentioned you finished setting it up." Barron's face brightened slightly as he pulled out his phone, sharing photos of his Upper East Side space, a sleek, modern setup with clean lines. "I worked with a young designer who got what I wanted, comfort without over-the-top luxury." Trump noted the stark contrast to his own gold-embellished tastes. "No gold anywhere," he quipped with self-deprecating humor. Barron laughed, a rare, unguarded sound. "No, but I added some family touches," he said, showing a black-and-white photo of Trump Tower from a pre-Barron era. "I like that," Trump murmured, appreciating the blend of heritage and individuality. Their talk continued, with Barron sharing snippets of his routine, morning habits, a tight-knit group of friends, his weekends. Trump listened intently, hungry for the everyday details most parents glean naturally. "I miss this," he confessed, a rare admission for a man unaccustomed to voicing regrets. "The little things in your life, I only catch during these rare talks." "Mom fills in the gaps when she can," Barron said. "She drops by for lunch sometimes. We speak Slovenian, it's nice, like a tether to family away from all this." This mention of Melania's regular presence highlighted the contrast with Trump's sparser contact. He resolved to acknowledge her role and find ways to be more present despite his demanding post. "Do you ever regret it?" Barron asked abruptly, catching Trump off guard. "Running again, knowing what it'd mean for your personal life?" Trump pondered the question carefully. "It's tough," he admitted. "There are moments like this when I feel the cost, the time with you and your mom I can't get back. Normal father-son bonds sacrificed along the way. But I also believe in what I'm doing for the country. It's a conflict that's hard to resolve." Barron nodded, seeming to value the honesty. "I never doubted your intentions, Dad. Just sometimes wonder what our life might have been like on a different path." "I wonder that too," Trump confessed, showing a vulnerability uncommon for him. "Especially when I miss another big moment in your life because of some crisis that seemed crucial at the time." This candid exchange differed from their usual guarded talks, perhaps because months apart had created space for truth to emerge unhindered by daily compromises. "How about a vacation?" Trump suggested, seeking future connection. "Your mom said you might miss July 4th at Camp David due to summer plans." Barron shifted slightly, looking uneasy. "I got a summer job offer. It'd mean spending the summer in Singapore." He watched his father's reaction closely. Mom's naturally worried about the distance. "Singapore?" Trump echoed, surprised. "That's halfway around the world." "It's a good opportunity," Barron explained, though it meant missing most family holidays. Trump felt a twinge of loss but recognized his son's need to forge his own path. "We can arrange security if you're sure," he said finally. Relief flickered across Barron's face, a subtle sign of a young man still seeking paternal approval. "Thanks. I was worried you might not get it. I won't see you as often as I'd like, but I know who you are, Barron. You've always made thoughtful choices." A brief silence fell, and Trump recalled Barron's childhood, his fascination with construction equipment, his focused block building, his early chess prowess that often outwitted adults. "You know," he broke the quiet, "one regret is not shielding you from the political spotlight. You were so young during the first campaign, then thrust into this extraordinary life. I'm not sure anyone could have fully protected me," Barron mused. "Not with our name. Even before you ran, there was always attention, always cameras." "True, but being the president's son is different. The scrutiny, the guards, losing a normal life, it's too much for anyone, especially a kid." "I had Mom," Barron said simply. "She worked hard to keep things as normal as possible. Remember how she insisted on staying in New York that first semester after your inauguration? So I could finish the school year with my friends." Trump nodded, recalling the political backlash he'd weathered for that choice, yet he'd supported Melania's resolve to stabilize their son. Your mom always put your well-being first, he acknowledged. Sometimes I think she understood your needs better than I did. She had more time to think about it, Barron said, without bitterness. You were busy running the country. His tone was factual, underscoring the imbalance shaping their family dynamics. That's true, but it doesn't erase my responsibility as your father, Trump said. I sometimes wonder if I balanced those duties right. Barron seemed surprised by this admission of doubt from a father usually exuding certainty. I never felt abandoned, Dad. Sometimes the distance, yes, but I always knew you cared. Caring isn't enough if it doesn't turn into presence, Trump replied, a realization dawning over years of watching his son grow apart. Their talk was interrupted by a beep from Trump's secure phone. He glanced at it, then decisively muted it. Not now, he stated firmly. Barron raised an eyebrow. Surely that's important. Nothing's more important than this, Trump insisted. They'll call back if it's urgent. This gesture, prioritizing their talk over work, seemed significant to Barron, who relaxed slightly. I've been thinking of visiting Washington more, Barron said after a pause. Maybe monthly, if your schedule allows regular time together. Hope surged in Trump. I'd love that. We can block out time, make it a priority that doesn't get bumped. Or maybe you could come to New York sometimes, Barron added, without the full presidential entourage clogging Manhattan, just something quieter, like Mom does. Your mom doesn't stir up the security chaos I do, Trump said with a smile. But I get it. We'll figure a way to keep it low-key. They began hashing out logistics, the practical father and son finding common ground. They settled on regular Sunday breakfasts when Barron visited Washington, occasional Camp David weekends for privacy and security, and perhaps a father-son trip during a congressional recess. I'd love to show you parts of the world before my term ends, Trump said, the idea of new memories together appealing deeply. As they talked, the Oval Office's natural light faded, replaced by the warm glow of lamps. Neither noticed time passing, immersed in this rare connection. A discreet knock signaled the outside world's demands. A briefing on a developing foreign situation couldn't be postponed indefinitely. Reality intruded, as it always did. Before answering, Trump looked at Barron with pride and regret, pride in the thoughtful young man he'd become, regret for the moments lost along the way. I enjoyed this, Barron. We need to make time for these talks more often, not just every few months when schedules align. Barron nodded, standing tall. I'd like that. Next time, maybe you could visit New York. There's a small Italian place near my apartment, the owner has a private back room. Secret Service already cleared it for Mom. Trump smiled at the invitation. I'd be delighted. Send me your schedule, and we'll set it up. He hesitated, then added words hard for a man of strength to voice. I'm sorry we don't spend more time together. You deserve a better father than the one you see every few months. Dad, I don't need apologies, Barron said softly but firmly. I get the importance of what you do. I just want a way for us to stay connected despite it all. As they approached the door, Trump made a spontaneous decision. Tell whoever's out there I need 15 more minutes. The briefing can wait. Barron looked surprised. You sure? You said it was important. It is, Trump confirmed. But so is this. We've put politics and presidency over family time for too long. 15 minutes won't derail world events. After Barron relayed the message, they resumed their seats, shifting to memories, shared and individual. Trump asked about Barron's first day at Stern. Nerve-wracking? Exciting? Barron described a mix of anxiety and anticipation, the weight of the Trump name shaping expectations and assumptions among peers and professors. He spoke of the challenge to be judged on his own merits in a world where his father's reputation preceded him, casting both shadow and light. Toughest was when professors debated your economic policies in class, Barron admitted. Some backed it, others trashed it. Either way, I felt all eyes on me, wondering how I'd react. How'd you handle it? Trump asked, genuinely curious. I learned to keep a neutral face, Barron said with a slight smile, focusing on the economic theories, not the politics. Wasn't always easy, but practice helped. Trump felt a blend of pride in Barron's maturity and regret that he'd needed such diplomatic skills so young. You had to grow up faster than most kids, he observed. In a way, Barron conceded. But Mom worked hard to give me a normal childhood, especially during your first term. And there were amazing perks, meeting world leaders, seeing history up close. Not many get that. Barron shared more about his current life, struggles with a demanding finance professor, growing interest in international business, the challenge of forming genuine friendships amid others' agendas. I found a small group I can trust, he said. People who see me as Barron, not just the president's son. That means a lot. That's priceless, Trump agreed. From my experience, true friends can be counted on one hand, those who stick by you even if you lose it all tomorrow. Did you have that growing up? Barron asked, intrigued. True friends, not swayed by family, money, or name. Trump reflected, a rare dive into his past. Sounds familiar, Barron smiled, a moment of shared understanding bridging their generations. Despite differing personalities and eras, both had navigated privilege, public scrutiny, and the task of discerning real bonds from opportunistic ones. Good news, Trump said, is that friends who weather this are worth their weight in gold. Found any? Barron nodded. A few. Even someone you might not expect, daughter of one of your political rivals. Trump raised an eyebrow but nodded approvingly. That's a good sign. Bridging political divides speaks well of you both. As their talk deepened, Trump wished they could freeze time, escaping the relentless march of presidential duties. But he knew it was impossible, crises would persist, and time with Barron would remain scarce. Barron, he said finally, I want you to know something. Whatever I achieve or don't on this job, nothing matters more than you. I'm proud of the man you're becoming, your thoughtfulness, resilience, honesty. Those will serve you long after the political noise fades. Barron was visibly moved by the direct praise, unaccustomed to such open emotion from his reserved father. That means a lot, Dad. Thank you. Before parting, they shared a brief, formal hug, typical of public photos, but it carried a genuine bond, bridging the growing distance between their worlds. We'll set up that lunch in New York, Trump promised as they reached the door. Not just talk, we'll calendar it and protect the time. I'd like that, Barron said. And maybe pencil in that Camp David weekend next month. Consider it done, Trump agreed, mentally noting to instruct his staff first thing. As Barron left, Trump returned to his desk, facing delayed briefing materials, but his mind lingered on their talk and the path to reclaiming their bond amid his high-stakes role. That evening, after a security briefing and other pressing matters, Trump retreated to the family quarters. He shared the conversation with Melania as they prepared for bed. I barely know what's happening in his life anymore, he admitted. The realization troubling him deeply. Visits here and there, calls between meetings, it's not enough. Melania nodded understandingly. He understands, Donald, but understanding doesn't fill the void of a father's absence. Trump proposed visiting Barron in New York for lunch near his apartment. You should go, Melania encouraged. These years will fly by. That you'd carve out time outside official duties means more to him than he'll say. You've always been there for him, Trump acknowledged. I relied on that, maybe too much. We have different roles, Melania said simply. Mine lets me be more present, but he needs his father too, even at 19. Her words reinforced his resolve to connect with Barron amid presidential demands. The next morning, Trump convened his chief of staff and personal secretary. With the same determination he applied to politics, he outlined new schedule parameters, regular New York visits for private time with Barron, protected weekend calls, and planned interactions during Barron's school breaks. "I know this requires adjusting our routines," he told his slightly surprised team, "but it's a priority for me. I expect the necessary steps taken." His tone left no room for debate, and staff began adapting the complex presidential calendar. "Sir," his chief ventured, "the Singapore trip Barron mentioned will need significant security for a presidential visit." "Not a state visit," Trump clarified. "Just a father seeing his son. We've done this before." "Yes, sir, but it coincides with the G20 summit." "Then we adjust the timeline," Trump cut in firmly. "Non-negotiable. Find a way." Staff exchanged looks but nodded, accepting his clear priority. Over the following weeks, the evening's impact showed in subtle but meaningful ways. Trump remained immersed in his demanding role, yet his personal time allocation shifted noticeably. A private New York lunch occurred with minimal media buzz. Sunday morning calls became a weekly ritual, safeguarded except for national emergencies. Trump learned Barron's schedule, seizing small windows for connection. Their talks grew more natural, with Trump asking deeper questions and Barron sharing more freely, no longer assuming his father was too busy. The promised Camp David weekend materialized, offering 3 days in Maryland's Catoctin Mountains, a secluded haven. They played golf on a private course, hiked the woods with Secret Service at a distance, and played chess, Barron's second checkmate prompting Trump to note, "You've gotten better, much more strategic." "Good teachers," Barron replied, "including you. You always said to think several moves ahead, not just react." Trump smiled, seeing his advice echoed. "Business and chess share that. Best players see the board's future." Their weekend talks ranged from current events to family history, Barron's future plans to past reflections, unhurried by urgent interruptions. On the final evening, watching a sunset from the terrace, Trump shared rare stories of his father, Fred Trump, strict, demanding, sparing with affection but instilling resilience. "Your grandpa was complex," he told Barron. "Tough, exacting, not one for easy warmth. But he taught me grit and resolve, values I've tried passing to you, maybe differently." "Mom says I have some of his traits," Barron noted, "that quiet focus she calls it, tuning out distractions for what matters." "She's right," Trump agreed. "You had that even as a kid, building blocks for hours, lost in it. Most kids that age can't focus past a few minutes." These shared memories, tracing family traits across generations, fostered a sense of continuity beyond their unique challenges. As the weekend ended, both resisted returning to their separate worlds and the distance they imposed. "We should do this more," Trump said as they prepared to leave, "not just occasionally, but regularly, time shielded from everything else." "I'd like that," Barron agreed. "Feels more like normal family time here." Nostalgia in Barron's voice reminded Trump of ordinary family moments sacrificed for public service. This simple weekend joy, free of media and politics, felt luxurious, not routine. Back in Washington, with a packed schedule awaiting, and Barron heading to New York for classes, they set concrete plans for the next meeting, not leaving it to chance or conflicting priorities. "That Italian place near your apartment," Trump confirmed. 2 weeks from Friday, I'll clear it, even if it means rescheduling other commitments." A month later, during a brief New York visit, they walked a park as Barron updated him on Singapore plans. "Security's working on it," he explained. "Tricky, but they think it can be discreet." "We'll make it happen," Trump assured. "But promise me a proper visit before you go, not just a quick lunch between meetings." Barron smiled. "I like that. Maybe a Mar-a-Lago weekend before I leave, if your schedule allows." "I'll ensure it," Trump said firmly. "Some things warrant reshuffling global issues." Walking on, with Secret Service maintaining a discreet perimeter, Trump reflected on legacy. His career measured success in built structures, struck deals, won elections, tangible legacies outlasting him. But watching Barron carve his path, blending family traditions with his own identity, revealed a different legacy. "You know," he said as they parted, seeing you become your own person brings me more joy than you can imagine, even if I miss too many daily moments along the way." Baron seemed to grasp the weight. "We're figuring it out, Dad. Not perfect, but better than before." As they said goodbye, Trump pondered how their bond had begun mending since that Oval Office talk. The time constraint hadn't vanished, but it opened a path to intentional connection despite their extraordinary lives. That night, prepping for a late call with world leaders, Trump reevaluated. This concludes our narrative journey. I trust you found this gripping saga of intrigue, cutting-edge innovation, and astonishing discoveries captivating. From where are you tuning in today? I'm curious to learn which corner of the globe this tale has touched. If this escapade held your interest, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for a steady stream of compelling, mind-expanding stories just like this one. Fresh material is posted frequently, ensuring you're always in the loop for the newest spellbinding adventures. Be sure to pass this video along to your loved ones and friends. It's a great way to share positivity and insight while expanding our circle of story enthusiasts. Your encouragement is invaluable. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to welcoming you back for the next tale.